now we're on North Lakeshore Drive, the W Hotel. The new Lake Park, ringed by a wall of high-rises and punctuated by the water tower towards the end of it, and the old water tower. These are the great glass houses from Mies van der Rohe that marked a turning point in modern architecture. The first really glass and steel curtain wall high-rises ever.
Those were recently renovated.
And now again looking at another great vista as we pass Oak Street Beach. East Lakeshore Drive, one of the most desirable addresses in the city, is off to our left. It's kind of a sad fact that during the 60s, the city didn't really pay much attention to what was being built along Lakeshore Drive, and we have a number of what can only be described as dog-do high-rises along this stretch, and especially further north as we get towards Marine Drive.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few of the great mansions still left here. That's 1350, 1360 Lakeshore Drive, which the developer doesn't like to be reminded sits on what used to be the site of the Potter Palmer Mansion, the greatest home in Chicago before it was torn down. And now the vistas open up. We're looking at Lincoln Park. And the rim of high-rises punctuated again by some of the old Victorian homes flanking Lincoln Park. Beaches, sand volleyball playing fields off to the right, and off to the left the Lincoln Park Zoo.
Over in this neighborhood, if you want your unobstructed views, what, you have to live on Lakeview at this point? Is that
No, we're on Lincoln Park West at this point because we're south of Fullerton.
All right.
About to pass the theater in the park up ahead on our right here, and Fullerton Avenue Beach is up here.
Mm-hmm.
The northern stretches of the zoo off to our left, and now we're approaching the area where you would live along Lakeview, and there's the harbor. And facing south, you see 2800 Lakeshore Drive and the twin Mies van der Rohe towers of Commonwealth Plaza, 330, 340 west of Versi. Between Diversey and Belmont are some of the most truly awful buildings architecturally built during the 60s, mixed in with the occasional vintage high-rise and a few single-family homes.
Now, when you say awful, are you talking solely from
I'm not an
aesthetic
architect
standpoint, or are we talking even just terrible units on the inside and just
kind of you name it? It's like almost like a perfect storm of awful on some of the buildings.
the mixed in you?
Belmont Harbor is over at our right, and now
occasionally you get some vintage buildings like this that are old and
that's Harbor House, essentially a knockoff of the Habitat development at the Montreal Olympics.
Really?
Back in the day, yep.
Huh.
Precast forms pretty much stacked in place to build a high-rise out of. 3,400 on Lakeshore Drive at this point. An almost unbroken wall of high-rises fronting the lake. Some great buildings, some not so great buildings. Some truly spectacular vintage apartments along this stretch. Little known, and there's according to the Brick Council of America, the tallest masonry structure in the world. The New York condominiums, with some great views into Wrigley Field from the west-facing units up there. That's Anshiama Temple and School, which is popular. The Disney Magnet School. Short walk from many of the high-rises here, and we're now in Uptown, the Buena Park Hutchinson Mansion District off to our left. And Joe, you're going to get us off the drive at Montrose, and